Good day, all. Welcome to another session where East meets West on leadership. Today, we're talking about level 5 leaders. There's so many research that was done on level 5 leaders and what are these characteristics, what do they portray, and how they make decisions in every aspect of a level 5 leaders. And you can actually evaluate yourself to also see, are you a level 5 leader? But today we're talking specifically that level 5 leaders, according to Jim Collins in his book Good to Great, they embody a paradoxical mix of personal humility and professional will. And they're not ambitious, to be sure, but ambitious first and foremost for the company, not themselves. As you know, Coach Harish is joining us from India, and we will be discussing level 5 leadership today. Welcome, Coach Harish. Okay. You will need to unmute. Okay, let me see if I can. Yep.
Good evening and welcome from India. It's all about humility in leadership. And when you mentioned greatness is visible in humility, and people who have achieved that level 5, it is visible in every aspect of their life, every action that they take, and every time you look at them, you will see it in abundance. Why I say this is a skill which they have created over a period of time. They have worked hard on themselves to become what they have become by personal humility and the will. I repeat, the will to be the best professionally. And people will follow such people, such leaders, such executives who are at that level because they have been practicing it over and over and over a period of time. And that shows in their every action in life. So, humility, yes, I agree. As you grow, you become more and more humble. As in, when you keep growing, you become more tolerant. And as you keep growing, you become more patient. And the best part is you become a great listener. So, humility and professional will go together. And I am happy to say when an organization is moving on the journey to become good and good to great, all these 5 level leaders have created that hierarchy, capabilities, and the necessary need for transforming the organization from here to there. That is the journey of good to great. I'm so happy to share this today, Shanti.
Yes, Coach. So let's talk about professional will first. And when we think of the leaders that we see in this day and age, how do you find leaders that goes above and beyond for their company? And from this end of the world, I am not painting all the leaders with the same brush. However, you do see behaviors where leaders, it's all about what's in it for them. What is how do they elevate themselves, how do they become successful? And even you see research that shows that some companies have some great leaders, and when they leave, the company collapses. right? Because they have not actually groomed other leaders to come in. So when you think of a professional will doing what must be done, no matter how difficult it is, how many leaders, and do you also see from your end leaders who do what is needed, even though how hard it is, maybe how much sacrifice they may need to, give up whatever or make so that their company goes up, or the organizations that they're leading, their team, that this is there's an excellence in the way they perform. They're results oriented, that when they lead, you're seeing the results behind it. People don't need to tell them what to do, and but they know what to do. What are your thoughts? Do you find leaders like
I
that
would
from that end?
I would love to share with you here. In these times, last 18 months, we have seen the emergence of two types of leaders. One is who is scared, the other one is who is fearless. And those fearless leaders have moved their army, their people, their team to unprecedented results in these 18 months. The leader has shown that he has the will, and to carry those people along 24 by 7, he has led from the front. And those fearless leaders have seen enormous growth in their team, in terms of their mindset, in terms of the productivity, and in terms of the growth in who they were and who they have become in these 18 months. So I only speak about those people who have taken up this challenge and run this race, a marathon as a sprint. And when you run a marathon as a sprint, not only you have endurance, not only you have stamina, not only you have a long distance to cover, but also you show to the world that we are different because our behaviors don't lie anymore. Our actions show, and our results are visible in every single action that we take on a day on day basis. So, here I am happy to speak only on those leaders who picked it up on their shoulders and said, "Follow me, let's do it." And they have done great work during this time for themselves, for their team, for their organizations. And I know in every country there are two sets of people: all those who have considered it better to perish than to strive, revive, and be alive. So, those who have survived, they have strived, and now today they thrive. I am not interested to speak about those people who are dead and buried. They had an opportunity and they missed an opportunity because of fear, because of uncertainty, because of the ability not to think beyond today. And if you call those the people as leaders, I am sorry. Those leaders did not deserve to lead anymore. And today, those who have led have moved from good to great on the journey to become a good company, a good organization, a good country who has taken up this. And I must share with you, my political leader, my prime minister, he took upon him to vaccinate the whole country. And today we are more than 100 crore people vaccinated. Do you see this leadership? Yes. And the support that he got from like minded people was enormous. And today, The world is acknowledging this fact that a political leader took upon him to vaccinate the whole country, and he has done a great job. Imagine one 10 million people a day. Isn't that too good a number to count your zeros? It's not easy. So, those numbers have mattered and they have done a great job. And I'm proud to say that I belong to this country, India, where leadership has shown how to lead in these circumstances, not only in the country, but globally. So there is will, political will, professional will, and corporate will to see this particular pandemic through. And now, Shanti, remember my words today. 2022, India is going to grow and become a might because of the leadership that has grown over the last 18 months. And I'm proud to share that. People have challenged themselves, people have grown, and it's not the level 5. I think it's beyond that what they have contributed during these 18 months. And I'm proud to share this with the world. Both East and West needs to grow. And today we have shown the way how leadership in our country has grown, and we are proud to share this.
Yes, we are growing and we are seeing so many changes happening indeed. Different type of leaders are emerging out of this COVID, and you see different behaviors actually come out. And I do believe that it's when we're under pressure, I would say, that you see someone's true color. And so in this period here, you're seeing so many different decisions are being made, and indeed so many different behaviors from leaders. And when you think also of professional will, we mentioned briefly last week about, when a leader, their success, they attribute the success, either to themselves or to their followers. And a level 5 leader, they're different. They think, more highly of their people. When things are not done, well, or it went poorly, they look in the mirror and they take full responsibility for what's happening. But you see many leaders these days, instead of taking responsibility and asking themselves, what could I have done? What I didn't do? Instead, they blame, and they throw all the blame on others. And it is because of these people causing this to happen in the country. It's because of these employees, or it's because of this situation, or somebody else, or some, whatever it is. It becomes a blame game, and they kind of pull themselves out of the situation. So as leaders, your professional will, how do you as a leader actually stand up and say that, I take full responsibility? I hardly see leaders who does that these days, actually. And I'm not sure, what can you add from your end, and do you see behaviors like this, or are people actually, the leaders say, yes, it's my responsibility to see this done?
I would share here, in these times, some great new leaders have emerged. They have shown that they have the ability to be fearless, to accept and create a team to move on, to strive and to thrive in this new journey together. And those new leaders have more energy in them, have more capability in them, but above all, is the power to make that decision and fearless which has taken them. You mentioned behaviors. Yes, fearful and fearless are two opposite behaviors. Which one do you carry as a leader? And how do people look at you? Are you a fearless leader, a concerned leader, a calm leader, a listening leader, a collaborative leader, a thinking leader? What is it that comes out in you? And people have been watchful in all those areas where they see you leading from the front or leading from behind. Leader is always visible through the way he has clarity, the communication he does, and the consistency he maintains over and over and over again. That's his way of doing things. He has total clarity. He communicates so beautifully that the followership is there with him and creating those things over and over again, which have taken them to those heights, is consistency. So, the three pillars, if you ask me, if you maintain in your professional will clarity, communication, a high level of communication, a standard where communication is being watched at all points, how does it flow? And keep doing it over and over again every single day. And every single day matters in these 18 months. And these 18 months of survival today has made them proud. They feel so energized. They feel so much in wow of each other that they have responded to this so beautifully. And I'm only speaking about those who could become fearless. Come out and take this oar on them. By oar, I mean ownership, accountability, and responsibility on their shoulders to carry the weight and lead from the front and take those people together. That's one part is professional will. Two part is the fearlessness. Third is the eagerness to do it. And fourth, commit time to do more in less. This is what people have done.
Yes, great lessons to learn here as we continue on the other part of a level 5 leader. They express humility. And so, what Jim Collins says is that level 5 leader channel their ego. That ego needs away from themselves and into the larger goal of building the great company. And it's not that the level 5 leaders, they don't have what should I say, self-interest. Instead, they are incredibly ambitious, but their ambition is first and foremost for the institution, not themselves. So when we think of sometimes people might say that humility in a leader is a weakness, and leaders need to be, demonstrate that they are powerful, and they're upfront and they're this and they're that. But I remember C.S. Lewis, who said that humility is not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less. And so when we can resonate with that and understand what he's saying, so it's not about you not thinking, you know less about you, that oh, I need to keep myself all these things we say to ourselves, that we might be afraid that our pride comes and take over. But how do you keep the balance that you do not think less of yourself, as in you're not good, you're this or you're that, because you want to portray as being humble. But as leaders, yes, we need to be humble. And I personally have met so many leaders who show me their ego and show me that it's their way or the highway. It's about what they want. You have no say in anything. And I this pride that goes there, it's amazing. So as a leader, I do believe humility is the one of the key mark of leaders. And when you research you see some of the research that Jim Collins and others did. You see all of the level 5 leaders had this in common. They were very humble people. They don't take praise. It's like you won't even know that they existed because of how they operate and how they go about living. They're very simple people, and they do really great or extraordinary things. They achieve extraordinary results despite how simple they are. And so, Coach, what are your thoughts on humility
I
here?
feel humility is the essence of leadership. That's a primary quality that every leader needs to possess, and humility is ingrained into a leader. The moment that humility is visible, he sees growth in his leadership, and his followership is going to grow. Number one, if you have humility, you will also be a good listener, a good communicator, a good person in terms of an emotional connect with empathy. So, the primary responsibility of a leader is he needs to be humble, and the opposite is egoistic. I've never seen an egoistic leader stay for long. That is dictatorship, and dictatorship is not leadership. So I'm not speaking on that, but I must confess humility is one of the basic ingredients to be there in every leader today. The more of humility, the more he will have people around him, the more he will listen and respect people, the more people will surround him for his wisdom, for his clarity, and the way he communicates and bring peoples together is all visible in the way he conducts himself, and that comes out of humility. So, humility for me, if you ask me, is one word that needs to be ingrained into a leader, that should be visible at the first sight, at the first word, at the moment you shake hands or hug people. And when you do that, that is visible in those actions that they make. And once that is visible, you can visualize where is the leader coming from, what does he have, and what will we receive from him once we are close and together with him. So, I love these two words, humility and the will. And this is important today for all the young leaders to bring it into their DNA, that they have fundamentally ingrained this into them. They are humble, they are clear, they communicate well, and they do it consistently over and over again. So when you practice a particular aspect of behavior, you start mastering that behavior, and humility becomes a part of your life, and the will to remain there, to stay there by doing it over and over again is mastery, is practice, and the number of hours you invest on yourself in being there, doing it, and having that people watching you and imbibing into them that, yes, I need to have this quality in me to become the person I need to become. And it's very important that today we are speaking on these two great words, the professional will, the political will, the individual will, to think, am I humble? Do I need to be humble? Or do I need to be otherwise? And when you pose these questions to yourself and you answer it to yourself, you are meant for greatness. You are have to have this humility in you, and you need to carry it with you for life. And people recognize it, People look at you that this is a great man, and today people follow you and you're moving towards being a legend in your lifetime. And it's so good to feel that people become legends in life and people get respect and people get that love, affection, and gratitude that they are serving them through this humility and the will to give more so that the humanity benefits. And these are some great traits we talked about today. Leadership needs to have the will and the humility to create an environment where people are happy and respect you, and that trust is natural, which shows up every time they are around you. So I'm blessed to speak about this, and I'm sure you feel the same about these two words which we have been speaking about today.
Yes, Coach Harish. So, before we close off this session, I thought of, in the book I was reading, it used the word selfless and servant leader. But many people, when they hear those words, oh, servant, I don't want to be a servant leader. I have to serve people. It kind of sounds like a low stature kind of something. And it's amazing, though, that despite we're not calling it servant leadership or servant leaders, the level 5 leaders are servant leaders, and their quality, and when you really look at their lifestyle, you look at every aspect of how they do things, they are servant leaders. And so I don't want people to also run away with the idea that servant leaders means that, oh, it's an organization where everybody is just hugging and going about their business, and everything is yeah, everybody happy and jolly and all this. But there's also to know that the other side of it, yes, you have an environment where people are comfortable and people feel valued, but at the same time it's an organization that also produces results, right? And it's driven, those leaders, those level 5 leaders, they also are driven by results. They want to see things get done, and they do not accept mediocreness from people. And so don't run away with the idea that you're talking about humility, and these are people who get walked over and stuff like that. But they are people who put their foot down when they need to put it down, and they do bring the results that is needed. So these are the leadership. And yes, I do
I
believe
will
in.
I will share with you a point here.
Yep.
The moment I look at servant leadership as a concept, I look at it, every leader deserves to serve. DE serves. It's his duty to serve. And today, if we call him a servant leader, that's the right definition, that his purpose is to serve, and servant leadership is a giver for life. And a person who practices, becomes, works hard to look at serving every single day falls in that category of servant leadership. He is born to serve, period. Each one of us is born to serve. Now, you have added the word servant. The person who serves is a servant, and that's his job for life, to serve humanity, people, so that he can make them better than he is. And the moment you have this in your will, your professional, your personal, your individual will, that I need to be a servant leader, it goes a long way. If you ask me, I have always thought that I need to move toward the journey of serving people. And today, as a coach, mentor, teacher, trainer, my job is to serve people in leadership to become better leaders, to become great leaders, and finally to become legends. That's my responsibility as a person who is serving leadership. Now, today, with this definition of servant, I am happy to call myself, I am a servant coach, happy to coach these people to serve them to become better and better in this life so that I can make a small contribution in who they became over a period of time. And I have fallen in love this word serve. So the more you serve, the more you give, the more you have, the more you listen, the more you learn is my philosophy, and I'm happy to share it with you today on this show. Looking forward to serve more and more leaders, become great, and become legends in this life.
Thank you, Coach. I honestly believe maybe some people might think that I am naive, but I would say that indeed all the leaders around the world, whether you are in government, whether you are an organization or business or whatever where you are, community leaders, that indeed you're there to serve. And I think that part of it got missing from when some people took up those leadership positions. They forgot why they were there or why they were placed in those positions. They're there to serve. And so if we are not serving and it's about us, then the humility has gone out of you. And therefore, you're not a leader, a servant leader. You're not a level 5 leader. You're just a leader who has their own agenda, and it's all about you and what you can get and what you can achieve and who can praise you, who can actually like you, and it's all about that. And instead of, I am there to serve the people of this country, I'm there to serve the people of this organization, I'm here to do everything in my power to make it better for them, not for me. And that's where I think leaders need to come to that realization that it's not about them, it's about the role that they was put there to serve the people who are there. And I honestly would like to see that happen. And I know many people don't want me to say those things or don't want to hear those things because they have their own agenda and what they want to, achieve and what's not personally for personal gains. And I'm not against anybody who is working towards achieving things personally, but I'm saying as leaders, you're there to serve the people. That you should be first and foremost in your books, that you're there to serve. Every decision that you're about to make, is this going to make the life of this individual or this group better? And so I am not sure what do they look at, but I do believe leadership is all about serving. How do we serve our people? So I
I
know we
so
could
very
talk.
much agree with you. I am happy to share this that yes, they deserve to serve. That's why they are here on planet Earth. They are to serve people, listen, learn, and grow together, and become the leader that you were born to be. Keep this in mind. You were born to be the leader, you are the leader, and you have to show the way to people that yes, this leadership is all about servant leadership, give leadership, and not ask leadership. The moment you differentiate that leadership is all about giving, leadership is all about listening, leadership is all about doing, and the whole world changes around you. And thus, one word, if you remove Forget the ask, learn the give. Forget the ask and learn the give. And keep giving so that you can create that environment that people look at you as a giver. And of course, I love this word. When you serve, you become a servant. Whether you serve the human or others, you are serving them to make them feel happy, good, and remember that they were served by you. Just look at it. When you go to a restaurant and somebody attends to you so very beautifully, isn't it? How do you feel that he has got great emotions which he's sharing, his feelings while serving you at a restaurant? Why not this happens every day, every time, in every action of yours? That the relationship which you have is serving each other with respect and with the attitude of give, accept, and give back. Give, accept, and give back. And the more you get into that zone, you start belonging there. And remember, you keep doing it over and over, it becomes your habit. And when you do this as a habit, you make an impact on the lives of people. That's consistency. And with that clarity and communication, you are a great human, a great leader. So, happy to speak on this subject today. And let's continue to share our thoughts on leadership, which is a vast area, which is a big area, and pick up one or two points every time and speak about them during our call of 30 to 40 minutes serving the world. And I'm happy that we have been doing this almost 5 weeks now, isn't it? And the more we give, the more people are going to look at this as here are some people who are sharing their thoughts on leadership. And tomorrow you will see, Shanti, you're going to have followership. People would love to ask you, what more can you give us, add value to us, so that we become better and great leaders? So, this is my thought for the day. And thank you very much for inviting me. And so blessed to share East meets West on leadership around the world. This part is India, and your part is Guyana, Georgetown, West Indies. So happy to share this. Over to you.
Thank you, Coach. Yes. And indeed, thank you very much for being part of this. And as we can share, our viewpoints and the things we are learning to our experiences that can help and add value to others. So, in closing, I want to say this one thing. I've learned that to whom much is given, much is required. So, as leaders, much is required. So, Coach, see you next week,
Thank
everyone.
you. Much is required, and keep giving much. Never ever fall short of much. Be abundant and share your abundance with your world. Thank you, Shanti. See you next week, same time, same day. Looking forward. Thank you.
Great. See you, everyone.